Mount Pleasant, Tennessee.
You're listening to the Drive South Radio Show on WKOM 101.7 FM, brought to you by the Merchants of the Mount, just a short drive south in marvelous Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. And now back to your host, George Hamilton V.
Thank you so much, Colonel William Covington. And welcome back, friends, to the Drive South Radio Show. I tell you what, every Drive South Radio Show, we like to feature fine Americana music from right here in Middle Tennessee. Did you know that the Columbia, Mount Pleasant area of Middle Tennessee is a part of the Americana Music Triangle? Well, it's true. The Americana Music Triangle is a musical region that reaches from Nashville down to New Orleans and back up to Memphis, including all points in between and in the surrounding areas. The region is the cradle of American music and birthplace of jazz, blues, gospel, country, bluegrass, R&B, soul, and rock and roll. For more information about the Americana Music Triangle, visit AmericanaMusicTriangle.com. Now, a month ago, I saw a Facebook post by Visit Columbia TN about an Appalachian dulcimer program led by today's Drive South Radio Show musical guest, Melissa Buck. I was just so excited about that when I read about the dulcimer class here in Columbia, home of WKOM 101.7 FM, where we do our weekly Drive South Radio Show. I began searching for a way to contact the instructor. So I called Miss Kelly Murphy of Visit Columbia, and she got us in touch with Melissa Buck and her dulcimer. And now, folks, here's Melissa Buck and her Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer. Fantastic, man. So the dulcimer, that's like a pretty ancient instrument, isn't it?
It is. Every culture had a dulcimer type instrument.
Were they all called dulcimer no matter where you were?
No, dulcimer comes from the word from Latin. It means sweet.
Okay.
So, sweet sound.
But it's very prevalent in the music in Appalachia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's neat, too, because many people pronounce Appalachia. Well, I guess Appalachia, do you say Appalachian Mountains, David Spalding Jr.?
I say Appalachia.
And if I said Appalachian Mountains, but I don't say Appalachia, or maybe I do. What do you actually say, Melissa?
Appalachian.
Appalachian. Uh-huh.
My grandma's from the Appalachian Mountains in East Tennessee, so that's kind of where we came from.
Now don't forget to talk directly on the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Because this is neat because you don't seem to have a Tennessee accent.
No, I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's where I was born.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And now you're actually here in the Columbia area. Now, when we talked on the phone yesterday, you mentioned that you worked for several years with Miss Dixie Hall and Tom T. Hall and their Bluegrass record label and publishing company.
Yes. We had Blue Circle Records 10 years ago, and we had the Good Homegrown Music Publishing Company.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. We had some artists on there, and lots of people would stop by and record their music, and we'd feed them. It was great. And we had the recorded event of the year, 2009, for
you were actually
Bluegrass.
Were you a Grammy winner?
No, it was for International Bluegrass Music Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little different, but
yeah,
we were very proud of it. And I moved back to take care of Dixie just a few years ago, and that's how I ended up down this way.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because we talk about Americana music, and many people think, oh, Americana music just started happening. But there was a time in country music when there was Americana music, they just didn't know it. And the songs of Tom T. Hall, That's How I Got to Memphis, or, I Love Little Baby Ducks. I mean, David Spalding Jr. is crying right now. Story songs that talk
Well,
about
I don't
life.
know if I'm crying, George, but I definitely was a fan of Tom T. Hall.
And you still are, and
Yes,
I am too. It's just, but talking about Fine Bluegrass, because you were working with their bluegrass outfit there, that Miss Dixie Hall and Tom T. Hall have given us, it reminds me of fine bluegrass music that'll take the stage tomorrow night at historic Halong Hall in marvelous Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. Well, let's hear another song from Craig Morris and King Cotton, who'll be in concert tomorrow night from 7 to 9 p.m. at Halong Hall. I'm George Hamilton V, and this is the Drive South Radio Show. Our musical guest today, Melissa Buck, is not only a picker and singer, but she's also one of the fine folks at the City of Columbia, Tennessee's Parks and Recreation Department. William, did you talk to Melissa about this earlier before the show began?
No, not yet. But Melissa, I hear that George mentioned that you would be teaching music here in Columbia. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, William. I work for the Parks Recreation here in Columbia, Tennessee. And if you look at the Armory Facebook page, you can find out a lot about our programs going on there. I teach some free programs. I teach art and music, homeschool groups.
Yeah.
And besides, we can always do other groups. We've got a bluegrass jam coming up on Monday, the
Okay.
26th, at Macedonia Center. And it's at 6 to 8 o'clock. It's free. It's a lot of fun. Even if you're just learning bluegrass, just go ahead and bring your instruments. We're going to try to keep that up every month. And I also teach at the Columbia Arts Building. I taught dulcimer in the fall, and I'm going to teach ukulele
Now,
in
one thing I was
January.
noticing when I visited the Columbia Arts Building page, David Spalding Jr. loves good food. It looks like you have a cafe there.
They do, yeah. Holly, who runs the cafe and the building, she has it's vegetarian, but it's very good.
Well, David Spalding Jr., what do you think about that?
I think that's great. Wyatt and
Yeah.
I've been over here talking about things he's been eating, and I think he and I need to maybe go there and experience some different things to eat. What do you think, Wyatt? All right, that was a yes from Wyatt.
Now, David Spalding Jr. is talking about Wyatt, who will be up singing in just a few minutes with Kristen Larkin. They will be doing a classic song they performed on the Viva Nash Vegas radio show, and the world went wild, and we had to have them in the studio for this special Thanksgiving Friday spectacular.
Boy,
Now
you
back
pull
to-
out all stops for this show, don't you?
We really did, including Melissa Buck.
Yes.
So now, Melissa, William, did you have another question you wanted to ask?
Oh, we just about asked. Yeah, I got one more.
What is it?
Our listening audience, I'm sure they want to be able to contact you, so you can get any information about a website or how they can get in hold of you and see what you got coming up and everything, and what you're doing, and how to join your class.
Well, at the Parks and Recreation, my email is real easy. It's mbuck@columbiatn.com. And you can also get a hold of me on my personal email, melissabuckmusic@gmail.com.
Cool.
And I've got Melissa Lawrence Buck. I got remarried, or what am I saying? I got married for the only time.
All right.
A few years ago. So my name is Melissa Lawrence Buck, and you can
Which
look
was
at
your first last name first? Buck or
Lawrence. And my sister
nice.
Beth Lawrence plays
makes
with
sense.
Sister Sadie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's
Well, this is so cool because you got so many connections with the music out here in Middle Tennessee. And Sister Sadie, now is your sister. Your sister Sadie is Sister Sadie?
my sister Beth Lawrence plays with Sister Sadie, which
Yeah.
is the name of the group. So
Yeah. Well, now talking about playing this wonderful bluegrass music and songs of Tom T. Hall and Dixie Hall. Today you have a song that kind of is in keeping with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a very special time of year, but sometimes you can almost feel lonely because many times many loved ones have gone on, but the memory themselves lives on, and it's so nice at Thanksgiving time to have the memory. And this song, I believe, talks about the table and about Thanksgiving. Could you tell us a bit about it before you?
Oh, definitely. This song, The Old Family Table,
Yeah.
it was written by Tom T. Hall and Dixie Hall, and it was written after a trip to Hohenwald
Wow.
They picked up a table there,
Uh-huh.
and they wrote the song about it. It's
Yeah.
a tiny table, but it had leaves missing. So
Right.
they talk about that.
Yeah, in
So-
other words, this song, they speak to your heart. So now, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, we're going to give her a hand before she starts because we love to clap. Here's the one and only Melissa Buck.
Knock 'em out, girl.
Oh, I will. The old family table where the hungry always came. It's been through all the good times, happiness and pain. As the children went away, they would all look back and say, save my place at the old family table. Every night at supper time, we all held hands to pray. We took out a leaf each time a loved one went away. The table is much shorter and so many leaves are gone. If it could talk, this table could tell stories on and on. The first leaf that we took out was for little baby Joe. Why God permits such things to happen, only heaven knows. We put him in a pine box and we laid him in the clay. We wept around the family table on that awful day. The old family table where the hungry always came. It's been through all the good times, happiness and pain. As the children went away, they would all look back and say, save my place at the old family table. When the girls got married, they were so proud of their rings. We sat around the table planning weddings in the spring. We put away another leaf when Andy went to war. Nobody knew how many sleepless nights we walked the floor. So many elbows resting there upon that wooden plane. It's doubtful that the world will ever see its like again. The old family table, scarred and weathered to the eye, will be our family table in our home up in the sky. The old family table where the hungry always came. It's been through all the good times, happiness and pain. As the children went away, they would all look back and say, save my place at the old family table. Save my place at the old family table. Family table.
Oh, yeah, Melissa Buck with a wonderful, wonderful story song from the pen and the hand of Tom T. Hall and Miss Dixie Hall. That was fabulous.
That was.
You know, we'd love to hear you play another dulcimer tune for us. And I guess what we'll try to do is get that dulcimer up there. Now, this dulcimer has got a lot of hearts on it. Is there a reason for a design of dulcimers? As an instructor, did you ever ponder why are they shaped this way?
It was really a lot of fun when I taught dulcimer over at the Columbia Arts Building this last fall. We looked at all the different instruments, and they're all different. This is a popular design really from the 70s.
Yeah.
So you find different shapes on the instruments and carvings, and there was a Tennessee music box at one point that is found along the Duck River, and it's more of a box shape. They're really, they've been around for hundreds of years. So this area has a lot of dulcimer rich
So
history.
one of the things that it's interesting because it can be deceiving. Is it a simple or a difficult instrument?
It's very simple.
So it's one for children of all ages then.
I think everybody can learn it. It's really good for hymns, and it goes more along the do re mi fa sol la ti do. Instead of it's kind of like you take out the flats and the sharps. And I'm lucky I have one.
Well, William Covington is always looking for a new instrument to learn. Do you have a dulcimer yet?
Yes, I do have a dulcimer.
Do you think you might come over to the classes? And
I'm already considering trying to talk to her and see how I might get some private classes.
Well, you don't have to consider it. I'll teach you anytime.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, we would love it also if you came down
Yeah.
to Mount Pleasant Middle School or
okay.
Haylong Hall to give an instruction down there to do a concert, because just the sound of those strings, it reminds me of this song, Rod Stewart with Maggie May.
Oh, yeah.
Was it a dulcimer or a mandolin?
That was mandolin.
Ah, but did
Yeah.
they somehow play it to drone like a dulcimer? What do you call that, the way the strings work together?
Well, that is interesting. You have 3 A strings and you have a D. So the first 2 are melody strings. Then you have a middle one that's the same,
Okay.
and then you have a D. And I was reading more about the history of dulcimers lately, and I guess there's a German instrument that has extra droning strings, and it's very similar to the way our mountain dulcimer's played.
Yeah.
So
Well, play us another song,
All
then,
right.
and watch out for that microphone.
I
'cause
know.
It looks like it might block your hand. We have
Okay.
all kinds of microphones in the studio, but our wonderful engineer, Jeremy Cox, is going to help us through the show. How about a hand before Melissa for Jeremy Cox?
all right, I'll do my best here.
Wow.
Oh, that's Melissa Buck from the City of Columbia, Tennessee Parks and Recreation Department. Friends, we'll be right back after a word from our fine sponsors, Merchants in the Mount in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee.
Life's pleasant in Mount Pleasant, Mount Pleasant, Tennessee.